This is Guy de Rothschild, very powerful man. His bloodline will have the Antichrist, and that's his son, David. And here's the Russell family, and represents the Russell family. And here you see Bill Clinton. This is a hypnotic induction for a mind-controlled slave. It hypnotically inducts them. And then you have William Huntington Russell and Samuel Russell, which tie back into your slave trade. So see, these people these Illuminati families have been involved in slavery for a long time, and have been involved with mind-controlled techniques for a long time. A lot of what they did with the black people was for purposes of, they were very skillfully using trauma and divide and conquer against the black people when they enslaved them. And I don't have time to go into all the ideas behind what they did to the black people, but just leave you with the idea that the reason that they brought over the black people like they did in the ships, with so many dying, and the way they separated them from their past and everything, it was all utilizing mind-controlled techniques. And this is some other Illuminati bloodlines here. The Lee family, Li Ka-shing, billionaire in Hong Kong. Some others. Hitler was of the Rothschild bloodline. I found out that Scotland was very important to all of this, and I just highlighted some of the Scottish clans that were involved in the Illuminati. And for some of you that need to see this, because you wonder if satanic ritual abuse does occur, I got this out of a museum, and it's written it's an oath to Satan that's written in the blood of the person who made the oath. And this is very standard for people within the Illuminati. And this all relates to how the mind control is done, because a lot of you can't separate the rituals, the satanic rituals, from the mind control programming. They dovetail in. But they're also using alien themes in the mind control too. And again, I will explain this in the videotape. It's a castle in Belgium, an important castle of the Mother of Darknesses, which is a rank within the Illuminati. This is the front entrance to it. The Illuminati have set up objectives, okay? And then those are broken down into components, and then they use different parts of society to bring those objectives about. They want things to happen as if they're happening naturally. From debriefing people that have heard planning sessions where the 20-year and the 30-year and the 50-year plans of the Illuminati were explained in detail, one of the major components to their plans is they want everything to happen as if it's unfolding naturally. So where the mind control slavery is so important is they have salted their people throughout all levels of society. There is no religious group, there is no philosophy, there is no political group that can't be infiltrated with their mind-controlled slaves. Here's an example of another objective. And you can see how they've broken it down into components, and then there are people that are salted throughout different areas are bringing about those goals. This is explained in the videotape, so I won't explain it, but it shows the type of thing that I go into in some of my literature, in some of my books. And this is the Illuminati occult area boards, that when they went to make federal regions, they copied the boundaries that the Illuminati occult area boards already had. And again, this is the type of thing that we talk about in the videotape. And you may say, what does this have to do with mind control? It's because healthcare and control of grains and all of these different things that we see being controlled behind the scenes, the way that they are able to control them is with these programmed multiples. And that's why people are saying, well, I can't believe that there's a conspiracy because I don't see it. No, it's being very subtly done behind the scenes. Here, Alice Bailey, who was connected to these people, was head of Lucis Trust and wrote quite a few books, started 140 New Age groups. She writes, "Years ago I said that the war which may follow this one would be waged in the field of the world religion. Such a war will not work out, however, in a similar period of extreme carnage and blood. It will be fought largely with mental weapons and in the world of thought. It will involve also the emotional realm from the standpoint of idealistic fanaticism. This inherent fanaticism found ever in reactionary groups will fight against the appearance of the coming world religion and the spread of esotericism. The coming struggle will emerge within the churches themselves." She's talking about mental weapons. Now, she doesn't spell it out here, but what she's talking about is the mind control that I'm talking about. And the name of her book's very appropriate. It's the Externalization of the Hierarchy. What was done in secret in these secret societies that tie in with the Illuminati, what was done in secret 100, 150 years ago is being externalized into society. And part of the way that they're doing it is through the mind control that's got an alien script to it, and through people that are seeing things and dreams and so forth. You know, one of the ways, see, my father was just naturally smart, but there weren't enough naturally intelligent people for the New World Order types to take advantage of. If you understand what they need to run their computer systems and to do the type of research that they needed to have some trick to get enough geniuses to really move rapidly forward with what they wanted to accomplish. And they discovered that if they scarred the brainstem, they could create somebody with a photographic memory. And so a lot of your people out there that are geniuses working for the system are mind-controlled slaves that have their brainstem scarred as a child. They've been given a photographic memory, and they've got programming. Now, how do they control these people? Well, they are releasing technology at a rate that they have decided upon, and they release that. If you're a mind-controlled slave, a lot of the ideas that you will get will come as dreams. Okay? They're controlling the various Christian denominations, various Christian religions. They're controlling the New Age movement. Your New Age prophets that are seeing things. Where do you think this stuff is coming from? And that's why I was so pleased to see Raylan Russbacher tell you her own personal story about how she discovered that the things that she had been channeling were actually being channeled through her via mind control from the intelligence agencies. This is, it doesn't show up very well on here. It's such a beautiful picture, but it's the inside of the House of the Temple of the Supreme Command of the Supreme Council, of the 33rd degree of the Scottish Rite Freemasonry in New York City. The House of the Temple here, one site for programming one place for the Grand Druid Council to meet in a room there. Here I'm at a programming site. And this is the Presidio, and this is real near the Presidio, the Palace of Fine Arts, and where Illuminati have done rituals. Here's some more pictures from the area. You'll notice that the 6th Army has the satanic hexagram within a circle with the satanic anarchy A inside of it, and a lot of their staff are Satanists. This is some more sites around the area used for programming. This is on the Presidio where the Illuminati have had some rituals inside of there, and in the distance here is Alcatraz, which has been used for ritual programming. This is Tavistock, which is a site that's been used for mind control programming. Rothschilds have used Tavistock quite a bit. Here's a couple programmers. This is Michael Aquino, who's head of Temple Asset. He's a mind control programmer, and I don't think that he's got his staff in his hand there in the picture, but he oftentimes carries a staff. That's staff is like a cattle prod, and it will give you electroshock. There's been quite a few books coming out recently about the mind control, but they're all pretty vague. So I encourage you to get the Volume 2 book that we have, and the title to it's The Illuminati Formula Used to Create an Undetectable Total Mind-Controlled Slave. Now, how are they doing this? Well, they're using natural things, natural functions of the brain. Some of you have probably been driving along the road and you've been talking to your wife and just driven automatically. See, the mind can work in two different things. What you're doing is you're hypnotically trancing out on your driving. Maybe some of you have been driving and you went from point A to B and don't even remember driving. You just put yourself into self-hypnosis. There's different altered states that the mind can go into, and they're very familiar with these. The mind also has the ability to disassociate. You know, if you say, some people, if they say something that's wrong, and then you try to correct them later on, they say, well, no, I didn't say that. Their mind has to disassociate. Or you go on a trip and you remember the good things but forget the bad things. Okay, this is disassociation. The mind has a natural ability. Now let's say that you're a soldier in a war, and this has been going on for thousands of years to soldiers in wars. Let's say your buddy, for instance, has his arm blown off and his guts are blown out, and it's a horrible sight. The mind protects itself, and if you look at it on a timeline, and at this point in time is that trauma, if the trauma is severe enough, what the mind does to protect itself, it builds amnesia walls around that trauma. Well, the Illuminati learned this long time ago, and so what they do is they compartmentalize the mind. They take a small child and they just traumatize the heck out of it and split the mind and build all these amnesia walls between all these traumas. The worse the trauma, the better, because the better the trauma wall. So the most horrendous traumas you can possibly imagine are the ones that they want to use. When you've splintered the mind up into many pieces of disassociated pieces, then you can go in and pull that piece up to the front of the mind, and you can construct out of that piece of memory whatever you want out of it. And you remember that some people have said that the human mind is like a huge computer, and if you got all the computers of the world together, in some ways your mind would excel. You would be all of the computers in the world. You've got a fantastic computer here. Well, you know how a computer can section off memory. You know, when you turn on your computer, if you need to reboot it, it reboots out of memory that you can't get to. In order to make a functioning computer, the big hurdle that they had to jump over was to be able to create memory that you couldn't access. Well, that's what they're doing with the mind. They're splintering up your memory into thousands of little pieces. My co-author on a couple books on